been low for days. We expected it to be low for days, and now it's dropping into anemic territory. The KP is flatlined after days of zeros and ones, and we are in a full cosmic ray zero day. Cosmic ray zero days present the highest of all space weather health alerts. Not even major flares are as well correlated statistically. High-risk cardiac, autoimmune, and psychiatric patients could see flare-ups of existing conditions, and the electromagnetic effect on the locus coeruleus and the hippocampus have shown to cause emotional instability and dysregulation, cardiac changes, and cognitive diminution. It is not the day to walk a tightrope over a 1,000-foot drop or dive into a potentially emotional topic with your spouse. Alert peaks 12 hours after conditions present, so we are in it, and it continues for 24 hours after the KP rises again. For more information, please find our video called Space Weather Health Alerts, What to Do. And of course, hopefully app users have alerts enabled and allowed by their device, which is only about 75% of you we can tell. If so, you got the Cosmic Ray Health Alert this morning. Folks, we'll start and end our science today with the climate. This is the September global climate map that will go around the internet today, made to make you fear the red. But as always, their percentiles chart is an injustice to our eyes and scientific reality, because the real temperature chart for the month is the deviation map. A lot more blue on this one, isn't there? That's why they show the percentiles map every month. Fact. Now up next, let's get way out into the cosmos and time, and recall that in our preferred cosmology, the plasma cosmology, what's missing is not dark matter, but the dust and plasma that's hard to see. 2 generations of technology ago, they thought they saw it all, but they still discover it today and expect to find a lot more with the next generation. And it not only has larger gravitational interaction than the proposed dark matter particles, but it's got the electromagnetic interaction, which means that instead of having to find 3/4 of the universe in dark matter, we need only find a bit more, making the full baryonic and structural picture of the cosmos, and to account for the electromagnetic effects. The dust is the focus of a new key study here heading to the American Astronomical Society. It seems they are so distraught by the errors and impossibility of dust effects on the cosmic microwave background, they want to jump to a cosmic infrared background instead. Their discussion of a black body interaction and data distortion with the dust is about as close to Dr. Robitaille's dusty CMB position as you're going to see in a mainstream journal today. Effects I mentioned. They don't even properly account for the ones we should see, but boy, they are trying. And Chandra continues its 2020 onslaught of mainstream cosmology by demonstrating that the long-missing answer to what makes quasars tick in terms of luminosity and power is the magnetic fields. We will have to forgive them, as that's probably supposed to be a torus in there, those white loops in a ring, but hey, baby steps. So folks, there is a rather well-known climate change fear-jerker at Penn State who used to teach me meteorology before suggesting I find another major due to my insistence on using modern science instead of 1950s weather knowledge, and last week we continued a decade-long private feud where he was challenging my sharing of this article a few weeks ago. If you recall, the drop in global pollution during the COVID lockdown definitively made Earth hotter. This is because the aerosols we stopped emitting are cloud makers and cloud brightness enhancers. Both of those reflect sunlight before it can be absorbed by water vapor or CO2 or anything else, and we get cooling. Professor's charge is that I am intentionally ignoring the fact that this article was not about CO2, and that what I needed was an article about CO2 drops during the lockdown and how it still showed the same story. Breaking news out today out of the top climate fear-jerkers in Europe. Oops, CO2 dropped at record levels during the COVID lockdown, more than during any previous event since industrialization, and the planet still got warmer. And even if we kept CO2 at record lows, they say, it would have minimal effect on the temperature. Yes, that just happened, Professor. Be careful what you ask for, especially when you're challenging me on this science. Now please forgive my publicly private moment there as we come back to another of Earth's rapid climate change defense mechanisms. Add to the cloud enhancement cooling and the ocean heat transport salinity shutdown, another one for the atmosphere here. It turns out that unaccounted for chemicals released as the permafrost thaws may tip the scales toward cooling the planet by interacting to make even more cloud cover. If you have been observing here the climate science in 2020, this is like clockwork deduction based on the literature so far. And so as we watch NASA's latest attempt to get in on the fear-jerking with Greenland, released last night, We recall that this is the other reason the planet won't just get warmer and warmer. The record solar activity of the Holocene, which lasted more than half a century, has ended in the last decade or two. Our decades now of record low volcanic stratospheric injection will not last. The atmosphere will fight back by turning extra heat into cloud-making phenomenon, and the oceans will continue to endure their reduction of key currents and AMOC. This is how you make a rapid ice age, and the faster the planet loses polar ice, the faster the ice age trigger explodes.